Welcome to a special edition of Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I am so excited and so delighted to be joined by Angela Watson from the San Francisco Ballet. Angela, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Good. You know that we've been looking forward to this interview literally for months. Your schedule is so intense, and we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to kind of start at the beginning, and so many people may have a dream of going into ballet. How did your interest in this begin, and sort of what were those initial thoughts and experiences that you had that really let you know this is going to be what I want to pursue?
Yeah. Also, before I start, I would like to correct myself and say from the San Francisco Ballet School, and
Okay.
I'm very close to getting into the company, but that's the dream.
Sure. Yeah.
But yes, back to my passion and how I got into this. Well, at first, my brother and I were deciding on, we were transitioning from elementary school to middle school, and we found Oakland School for the Arts, and there are different emphasis, different arts programs, and I found the dance program, and I was like, let me just go for it. And so I tried it. It was very, very challenging, and it was actually a jazz program. So I wasn't really doing a lot of ballet. I mean, a little bit of training my technique, but it wasn't until I saw Giselle at the San Francisco Ballet
Right.
that I was like, my mind was blown. And I was like, I want to do this. I want to try to go for this. I want to try to put on some point shoes. So I auditioned for the summer intensives, and I got into the summer intensive at San Francisco Ballet
Right.
School.
Right.
And then I got into the school from there. And I've been training ever since. And I'm on the last level, and I'm a trainee, and I'm inspired every single day because I'm around everyone who's incredibly hardworking. Like every single person has drive. There's no one who's lazy. Like you can't be lazy in this art form. So I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this.
Sure. I want to dissect that, and you may know the answer to this in terms of what that key attraction was. Do you feel it was the music, it's the dance, it's the artistry? What in particular do you feel had a calling in your heart or in your nature, in your very being that helped you sense this is really where I feel I would belong?
Yeah. Well, music has always been a big part of my life.
Mhm.
Um, I used to only love, music like R&B, stuff
Right.
like that. But as soon as I fell in love with the ballet, so I fell in love with the music first, or
Mhm.
and I like just hearing a symphony and hearing the orchestra was something that like stirred my soul up. So I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. And then with the movement along with it and how perfect I was like, that is something that um, I really, really just fell in love with. And also how I find this to be very selfish of me, but I take pride in it. It's the feeling of how when I dance, the adrenaline rush. I think that's
Mhm.
also why I do it. When I first started dancing, it was this other feeling that I haven't gotten from any other physical activity I've ever done. It was something that like it's I think it's a mix of athleticism and the artistry as well. And it's the fact
Sure.
that we have to make ourselves look like it's the easiest thing in the world while we're like dying on the inside. So I think that's something that always attracted me to the art form as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Some of us call that passion, and you can consider it selfish, but we are truly the selfish ones that
Yeah.
benefit from being able to see and enjoy and partake. And like you said, I mean, for those that have given it a chance, whether as spectator or participant, it's such a beautiful and amazingly complex art form that you can't help but be awed no matter what. And so you're going along, and then all of a sudden, you have an injury. Tell us about that and what happened and what that road was like.
Yeah, so it started in the school year of 2019 while I was training at SF Ballet School. It's probably like my
Okay.
fourth year of dancing. I was like, everything's fine. Like I'm close to pushing that trainee spot. I'm gonna get, and I was so like driven to go to that next level. And then there was pain in my right foot, and it took that whole year to really try to figure out what it was. Some doctors said it was bursitis. some people were like, oh, it's tendonitis, it's all that. Okay. And some people were like, do these exercises, do this. I was like, okay. And to make it worse, sadly, a lot of dancers go through this where they ignore the pain and they dance through it. So in December of 2019, I did all of Nutcracker with that pain, like almost 20 something shows. And I just ignored it. I threw on some point shoes and I just kept going. Then when COVID hit, it really gave me a chance to really analyze the pain that I was going through, and really reflect on like really truly what's going on. And then finally I went to a doctor, I got an MRI and they're like, you have to have surgery. And
Wow.
it broke my heart because it was the longest thing. It was like the longest process. I had all these physical therapy appointments, like, oh, it's gonna be fine. And then surgery. And I was like, okay. And I went into it thinking, let's just go, let's just get it over with,
Sure.
because then I can be back right away. And I didn't really think of the recovery process. But I went into surgery and the doctor told me, some dancers, after they get the surgery, which was a Haglund restructure. So I had a lot of issue with my FHL
Right.
along my foot this way. I had a lot of inflammation in my calf. They had to shave some bone down. They had to do a lot of stuff. But after that, there was like some dancers, it would take 6 weeks. So I thought, oh yeah, 6 weeks, I'll be back to dancing right away.
I'll recover.
Yes. So I was like, okay, let's go. I was in a boot for 2 weeks after that. Even when they switched me out of the cast into the boot, it was so hard to even walk down from out of the hospital to the car. And I
Sure.
think that was the moment that I realized that this is going to be extremely hard. And it was only 2 weeks then. And then after, I went to active care in San Francisco, run by Lisa Giannone. She works with the San Francisco Ballet as well. They're like tied together. But they killed me because they knew, I went to a lot of other physical therapists and it wasn't really focused on dancers.
Right.
And at active care, they're like, so my first appointment there, she put her hands out. She's like, put your hands. Now do a releve. And I couldn't I was shaking the whole time. And I think it was at the end of the 6 weeks. And I was like, oh, I'm ready to dance. I couldn't even releve. I couldn't go up. I couldn't jump. I couldn't walk correctly without modifying my body to like protect myself from the pain.
Right.
So it took, and well, simultaneously, I was trying to get the trainee position um, while I was in level 8, and I was like observing Zoom classes. So I was writing in my notebook and watching all my other friends take class over Zoom studio while I was at home in my boot or at home, just sitting and staying off my foot. But training and getting back, I think I'm still actually getting all the I don't know, the gunk out, the bad habits I built from the injury. But I think I started when did it start? June? I think I
Mhm.
started in June with all of the active care PT, and I think I've made tremendous growth, but it was a very, very, very long process, or longer than I thought it was.
Sure.
I said 6 weeks, but it took a few months, and I don't know. I still, I'm myself. I can say that now. I
Sure.
can pat myself on the back because I made myself do all that hard work, but I know there was a moment in my recovery where I knew, um, like, I could either quit and not go through all this hard work, or I could make myself go through this and see what dancer I become after it. And that was a risk I took. And my support team, my mom, my friends, my teachers, my mentors, they helped me through it. And I think the hardest part about it, not only the physical pain, of trying to grow through an injury, but the mental and emotional exhaustion that it
Yeah.
takes to like wake up in the morning and be like, okay, I have to do this all over again, and I have to make myself go through this insane amount of pain to get better to dance,
Right.
which will make it hurt again, but get the scar tissue out, So, but that was the only way I could. I'm extremely proud now because I'm at a point where I am now a trainee. I've
Right.
done Nutcracker without any pain.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm very, very proud of myself.
Yes. For sure. So let's go back because you used a lot of big words and try to help everybody out who hasn't gotten an advanced degree in podiatry.
Yeah.
Tell us about sort of how the injury occurred and sort of what it means in just a simple form for those that may not know a Haglund deformity, and that's Haglund.
Yeah. So my injury was an overuse injury. So it wasn't
Mhm.
like I was like dancing and I did this big jump and I like twisted my ankle. It wasn't anything like that.
Right.
It was like I just kept doing a releve slightly wrong. So a releve is when you go up on your demi point, when you go up on your feet. And
Mhm.
I was going up slightly wrong. I was going this way or this way. I was rolling this way, and
Mhm.
the back of my heel got extremely aggravated, and I kept
Mhm.
going over time. And just the overuse of doing that over and over and over again, inflammation built up, and so my muscles got very tired. My muscles got very tight. My bones, my tendons, everything got very irritated. So yeah, that's what happened basically.
Right. And then how might one recognize that? Because I think you raised a really good point, which is that many times lots of athletes have all types of pains or subtle injuries that do recover quickly or easily, or just with a little bit of ice or a little bit of rest, and really trying to tease out what's more serious versus not. Are there some tips that you might be able to give people, whether it's the length of time that it persists or the location of the pain, that could help somebody to know, I really need to get this seen, and I really shouldn't ignore this and continue to try to dance or work through it?
Yeah. I think a lot of my mentors say the pain is your body telling you like to stop, or the pain is your body like that's your warning. So um, for me, for every dancer, for every person, it's very personal. It's very like I don't know, it's very intimate. But for me, there was a moment where like if you can't dance like you normally can, or if you can't do what you normally can do, then that's a sign to get it checked out. And I think the earlier you get it checked out, the better it is. Because the more you keep dancing or the more you keep just working or doing what you normally do with the pain, the worse it gets. Um, I have a friend who she's so in tune with her body that she knows that the injury that she has now is a bone injury,
Mm.
because she's like, it feels so internal that like while I'm dancing, like I felt this before, and I can't do a certain step that I used to, and I know that it's bone. So of course you don't have to get to that point, but if it's something that you um, know, like I can't do what I normally can do with this pain, you should get it checked out, or even less than that. Just always, if your body's giving you warning signs, go get it checked out. Yeah.
And I thought you gave us another pearl talking about sort of the mental stress. So many of us deal with mental health issues, and underlying some of them, not all, but certainly physical pain is a very real thing for many of our viewers and many people in general. Just tell us about where you feel like you drew some of that inner strength from, because even being young, like you said, a lot of this is tied not only into your time, your commitment, your self-esteem, and also your identity, which is often the case when pain limits function. So just talk to us a little bit about sort of really getting that determination to press on and to get up and to go into the rehab and to go and practice and continue to press through, even though, like you said, you were going at a much slower pace than you wanted to, and may have felt like this might not come to an end anytime soon and not have a good outcome, even to the point, like you said, you might even stop dancing.
Yeah. I think number one, which is very important, is to find a great support group. My parents were always there when I needed to like let everything out. They were always there. Um, when I had an identity crisis, I was like, if I can't dance, then who am I? That was like, that's my art. That's what I do. I'm not me. And they helped me so much with that. Just to even be able to say that out loud and to have a support group to let you to give you that space and give you that moment, I think number one is very important. Number two is to stay motivated, and by doing that I didn't only look at dancers, but I looked at um, people who inspired my source. So my source is like I love passionate artists.
Yes.
So I went on YouTube, I went on every like platform and I looked for passionate artists. Like oh my gosh, one figure skater, Yuzuru Hanyu, I watch him all the time. His
Mhm.
artistry is insane and I would watch him every single day and
Right.
it would like ignite this fire in me and I'm like okay, I can do that, I can do that soon, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be just like him, I'm gonna be just like me in the future, you know. So I think that was something that also kept me motivated. I read a few books about dancers. My teacher sent me some articles about like mind over matter because it's
Mhm.
truly all in your head if you believe like oh she said if you envision your muscles and your tendons and the injury getting better, it will
Yes.
truly do it. Like
I
if
love
you
that.
really like envision it and you can like become in touch with your body, like uh it helps a lot. So I think those were a few things that I did. I journaled, I reflected a lot, had a lot of time to myself.
Yes.
So it helped me like center myself. It helped me find out what were my core values. And I found those things and I sheltered them and I grew upon them and like I protected them. And you know, now that I'm better, I think um, like growing upon them has helped me a lot because I can use them in my everyday life now and not just in my times of um, sadness or loss of passion. So,
Absolutely. A lot of people may not realize how intense your schedule is, and I certainly know it better than some, having been in the theater for quite a few years. But just give us a general idea of what your typical week looks like between rehearsal and the little bit of time you get to grab a bite, and then performance time as well.
mhm. So on the days where I don't have a show and it's just rehearsals, um, if it's just the school, I would wake up around like 8 and classes would start at 9:30
Right.
and then they would end around 5 at the latest for the school. If I have rehearsals with the school and then I have to run upstairs with the company, I'll have class at 9, and then I'll finish around 6:30, 7:30, and I'm a choreographic fellow now. So after rehearsals, I'd have to grab all my dancers for my choreography and I'd finish at 8 o'clock. And then I'd have to run home and dip my feet in an ice bucket and then sew some shoes and go to sleep and do it all over again. Um, but the amount of rehearsals we have vary. Maybe we might have like 3 hour rehearsals straight of just one ballet. We might have 1 hour of one ballet, another hour of the next ballet, or 2 hours of two different ballets. So it's very rigorous, and I have to keep my mind on, okay, what's going on today? Every single day, I gotta keep checking my schedule. But yeah, it's very rigorous, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Sure. But with that level of intensity, what are maybe just one of the two things that you feel kind of help keep you centered, help you to just let go and be free and enjoy what you can sometimes? Because in the intensity, many times it is helpful to counterbalance with the playful or with the less responsible uh,
Yeah.
nature of just being able to enjoy life.
Yeah, luckily I have a lot of beautiful friends who are going through the same thing as me. And so right as soon as class finishes, we're like, "Wow, let's go." And so I think that helps us like release whatever like stress we had during class or hold that position or whatever we had to do in technique class or rehearsal, we have to be very, and then as soon as rehearsal finishes, we're grabbing each other and we're dancing around. So they've helped me a lot, my friends. But if I don't have them to my disposal, I'll listen to some music, I'll draw a lot. Um, but yeah, I think music has helped me a lot. I'll have some headphones in and I'll play some very energetic, like bright music that helps me makes me want to jump around, and that'll help me a lot. It'll make me
Sure.
not overthink about what happened or what's going to happen. So
Sure. If you are comfortable saying who are some of the artists that kind of keep you jazzed and energized?
yes. Oh my gosh. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love Lizzo.
Hmm.
Who else am I listening to? If I want to be relaxed, I listen to a lot of Daniel Caesar and Steve Lacy.
Yes.
Um, who else? Who else? Lady Gaga. I listen to a lot of Lady Gaga.
Yes.
Um, a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Mhm.
Um, Stevie Wonder. A lot of older artists as well. Yeah. So
Yes. Good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a eclectic and wonderful collection. And I don't know if you do socials or outreach, but where can people find out more about the school and the appropriate way to reach out?
Yeah, so San Francisco Ballet School, or you can just go on sfballet.org. Thank
Okay.
you. But yes, you can go right on their website. It has a whole bunch about the ballet, and there's a section about the school, a lot about the school. You can find them on Instagram. It's SF Ballet School. That's their at, and then San Francisco Ballet. That's their at. You know, the company and the school. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. The last question, an easy one, but one that's inspiring. What would you say to a young artist, be they a musician, be they a dancer that's coming up, or even an athlete that is facing some level of adversity, be that something a cosmetic, be it physical, be it an injury, but something that's very real in terms of it causing pain? How would you encourage them to find the strength to go on?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard, and it's going to be almost a punch of face in reality, but hone in on what drew you to the art or the sport or whatever you love to do in the first place. Find that again and grow on it and shelter it and take care of it and baby it as much as you possibly can, and use whatever coping process helps you in any way possible, but baby that spark of passion that drew you to what you were doing in the first place. That's what I would say.
Sure. Well, a sheer delight. I'm Dr. Moshe Lewis. This has been Music and Medicine. We have been honored to be in the presence of ballet royalty, Angela Watson. I think her story is not only so convicting and full of passion, but also riddled with perseverance that despite injuries, despite setbacks, one can find the strength within and with family and friends to go on, realizing that this is really an analogy for life, isn't it? All of us are going to often face setbacks, have to achieve overcoming hurdles that certainly can seem impossible, or in her case, somewhat deceptive in how quickly they can be overcome. And yet, being able to find, as she said, to use her own words, our true passion and drive, and that factor that drove you to this to begin with, be it music, be it art, be it work that you have to do, be it raising a family, is something that really is important for us to really revel in, and also in many cases use music, use art. She spoke to us about a whole bunch of inspirational people, quotes, teachers in her life that gave her things to read and things to think about. And then also a key concept, which for somebody so young is so profound: mind over matter. Really realizing that our mind does really have the ability to help us conquer even our greatest demons, our insecurities, our fears, and realistically, our pain. And being able to really appreciate that these are steps in life that we have to go through. It's almost impossible to avoid in some type of way. Setbacks are almost that which makes us stronger and which exists to really test our mettle. But we appreciate having you, Angela, and these words of wisdom and these pearls, because you make it so real and so effortless. But I know you've worked so hard, and we look forward to seeing great accomplishments for you as you continue to go forward. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so glad I could be here.